Hi, I'm Laura at Aquamarine 18 Tarot and Books. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. Welcome. This is a VR to a seasonal tag created by Krista of Antiques Tarot. The tag is Solstice Tarot Tag 2023, and I will link the original video in the description box below, as well as timestamp the 6 prompts. I was really happy to see a seasonal tag for tarot related to a holiday that I actually celebrate. As a druid, I celebrate winter solstice, not Christmas, so I was very happy that there was a solstice tag. There are 6 prompts, each of which invites choosing one deck. I have managed to choose one deck per prompt. So, without further ado, the first prompt is Longest Night, a deck that gets you through long nights and cold days, a workhorse deck. And for this one, I chose a deck that is quite new to my collection this year, and that is the Tarot of the Crystal World, and this is by Brooke Penrose. This is a really cool deck, and it comes with a little oracle, which is also cool. So I guess I cheated and snuck in an extra deck because the Tarot and Oracle I do keep in the box together, even though they're kind of too big when they're together. This is a deck that I think is amazing, and I have wanted to use nothing but this since it came, pretty much. I've used other decks, of course, but for the first month, 6 weeks of having this, I had no interest in picking up another tarot deck. I think this is just a really cool deck, a really fun deck to work with. This is a deck that I would be quite happy to read for others with, I think. I think that other people would enjoy this deck as well. I haven't so far, though. I feel like I want to, really explore this deck and maybe have a deep dive with it before I read for others with it, because it just feels like a really special deck to me. It's quite different in art style from anything I have in my collection, but it's, very readable right out of the box, for anybody who is kind of Smith-Waite system proficient, I would say, while being, very unconventional in some ways. It reads very clearly. So definitely, I think, a workhorse deck. It also, with the color palette, goes with a lot of different kinds of oracles, which is really great, and also means more chance to work with it. It did come with this small oracle deck, which has kind of similar backs, and of course the same art style, same artist. And the oracle has some interesting titles. A Barrier to Change, A Child, Resistance, Returned Thought. Really cool. So Tarot of the Crystal World is definitely my Longest Night deck as of now. I'm obsessed with this deck. I love it. The next prompt is Shortest Day, and this prompt is a deck that shone brightly for a moment and then faded. For this one, I also chose a deck that I received this year, and that is the Literary Tarot, which is a project by Brink Literacy. And I backed this on Kickstarter. I backed for a lot of extras with this deck as well, actually, I will say. And I was happy to do so because the deck is a fundraiser for a literacy-based or literacy-related nonprofit, which I think is, a fantastic thing to support. It is a collaborative deck between multiple artists that features a different classic work of literature on each card. And I will say that for a collaborative deck, this is like the most cohesive I've ever seen as a collaborative deck, and I think that that's a real accomplishment. It has a lot of gold, a lot of metallic going on in this deck. The backs have metallic as well. So in terms of the prompt being a deck that shone brightly, like this is literally and figuratively. When I got this deck, I was really excited. I went through the deck to find out how many cards I could identify just from the imagery, like how many I could pick out which work of literature was being featured. And my number was not especially impressive. It wasn't terrible. I wrote it down somewhere, but not fabulous either. I haven't read that much classic literature, really. And then I went through the book and I checked my answers, and I also counted how many of the works that I had actually read. I was able to identify a lot more works of literature in this deck than I had read. Like, there are quite a few that, I haven't necessarily read the book, but the image was clear enough. But after I went through that initial kind of set of activities with this deck, I haven't used it. I had a lot of fun exploring it and looking through the art, and the artwork is beautiful. Like, it's really well done. But I just haven't read with it. I have shuffled it and shuffled it. It was a bit sticky when it first came. Not too bad, but definitely sticky. But I haven't really read with it. So definitely one that shone brightly for a moment and then faded. I don't know if this will stay in my collection or not. But I was really excited when I got it. So that was my shortest day deck. The next prompt is a gift, the deck that you received as a gift. And I have a nice pouch from Sarah of Sunset Bow. Makes these beautiful pouches. And this is a deck that I got for my birthday from my partner. It's the only time I've ever gotten a deck from my partner. I didn't ever think it would happen. And this is the Cats Rule the World Tarot. And it is so cute. I really like this. I have a handful of cat decks in my collection. All of them are very different from each other. And what I really like about this one is that the cats they're definitely expressive, but they're not anthropomorphized. They're not dressed up in costumes. They're not really doing human-like things too much. I mean, this one's maybe holding a wand in a way that a cat wouldn't naturally, but really they're, other than the odd kind of collar and things like that, they're not dressed up. They're doing things that cats could feasibly, would do for the most part. A few of them have hats, which I do enjoy. My cats would never wear hats, but maybe someone's cat would. And they're just so cute. And I really like the color palette of this. It has a little bit of an autumnal vibe for sure. It has a little bit of a witchy feeling with some cats wearing witch hats and the like. So this has been a fun one to play with for sure. And it reads well. I enjoy this deck. I like the backs here. Very cool, reversible. We saw this in a bookstore and I pointed it out and said, like, oh, look at this and look at how cute it is. And then it was my birthday gift and I was really happy. So that's the deck that I got as a gift this year. Cats Rule the World Tarot. The next prompt is a Storyteller, the deck that really tells stories or has a lot to say. And this was a very easy one for me to choose. And I chose an Oracle deck. I chose the Endless Oracle. And at the time of filming this, in December, I'm eagerly awaiting my copy of the Ink Witch Tarot by the same creator, which was just on Kickstarter not so long ago. This is a storytelling oracle deck. It features, characters or different scenes that could be in a story. I think that you could do actual story writing with this deck if you wanted to. It definitely, I think, has a kind of bit of influence of things like maybe role-playing games and things like this in terms of kind of different settings and different types of characters that you might encounter. in a kind of fantastical adventure, you know. I have some expansion packs included in this deck. There's a Zelda themed one, and then there's another one that was originally for the creator's Patreon that then became available. This is, I think, one of the best Oracle decks to come out in the last couple of years, in my opinion. I think it's beautiful. It reads really well. It goes with a lot of things. It feels quite wintry to me, so I like to use it around this time of year. The guidebook is really, really good. I'm very impressed with this Oracle deck all around. I like everything about it. And I'm excited for the Inkwitch Tarot as well. So that's my Storyteller deck, the Endless Oracle. Next up is Rebirth or Transformation. A deck you loved, its time passed, and then it returned. So this I had to think about a bit. What would meet this prompt. And the deck that I chose for Rebirth and Transformation is an oldie but a goodie. The Gaian Tarot by Joanna Powell Colbert. This is a deck that I got in late 2000. It had been out for quite a long time before I got it. I had been holding out to find, one of the versions that I liked more than the currently in print mass market version. And I did end up getting both of those. I got this one, this is a Llewellyn edition. I also got the limited edition straight from the creator, which is what I actually got first because I never thought that I would get this one. This is hard to find. And so when I got this deck, I got my 2 copies like late 2020 and then very early 2021. I used this deck a ton. I really like it. And anyone who I've done a reading for with this deck has really liked it as well. And then I would say for the year 2022, I didn't really use this very much because I used it so much when I first received it. I was so excited. I used it a ton, put it away, didn't really use it in 2022. And then in January of this year, 2023, my friend Sarah was doing some tarot book reading and I joined in and we read the Journey Through the Gaian Tarot guidebook together. And so that caused this deck to have its rebirth, and to return into my collection. But of course, when we're reading the guidebook together, we're also reading for each other with the deck and reading with the deck for ourselves. And so after a kind of really intense time of getting to know this deck when I first received it and reading with it a ton, and then putting it away for a while, it came back, and then I read a bunch more with this deck this year. So the Gaian Tarot is my Rebirth and Transformation deck. Last prompt is the Feast, a deck that is a feast for your eyes and or is food based and fills you and brings you joy. Now, Krista, who made this tag, has some fantastic food themed decks. I do not have a food themed deck. I don't have anything even close to a food themed deck. So I had to go with the Feast for the Eyes version of the feast as opposed to the food theme. I do think a food themed deck, if I found one that spoke to me, would be a cool thing to have though. So for a Feast for the Eyes, nothing is a feast for the eyes to me like nature, beautiful nature. And so I chose Naturescapes Tarot by Tina of Queen of Wands. This is a make playing cards deck, and if you've watched my channel, you've seen it before because this is one of my absolute favorite decks of all time to use. It's very much beloved and has been a real support to me ever since I got it. I now have 2 copies of it. I made a tin on Make Playing Cards. I went and found the back design on Pixabay and had it printed on the top of a tin so I could kind of carry it around with me without getting it too damaged. It is It is getting a bit scuffy because I've used it so much. But this to me is a visual feast. So that was an easy pick for the last prompt, the feast. That is Solstice Tarot Tag 2023. I hope other folks will participate in the solstice themed tarot tag. If you do, let me know. If you celebrate solstice, let me know. Let me know what you like to do. I wish you a very happy solstice season, and I'll see you again soon.